Okay, so during the S phase of the cell cycle, the previous video talked about how DNA is replicated. So we basically make a copy of all the DNA in the cell. So how does DNA replication happen? Um, we're going to go through this in a basic way for A&P1. You may have seen it in more detailed in other biology classes, but essentially what you need to know is that an enzyme called helicase comes in and unzips this DNA. It unwinds this DNA and creates a fork. So DNA is double-stranded, so it creates this fork or bubble where an enzyme called DNA polymerase comes in. And DNA polymerase takes nucleotides, free nucleotides that are in the cell, and matches them up to the complementary nucleotides as it reads down the template strand, and it adds nucleotides as it moves down the strand and builds a complementary new strand. And so the new DNA, the copy of the DNA, is made up of this old strand and this new strand. You may see down here, this is the lagging strand and the DNA polymerase moving in the opposite direction. That just has to do with DNA structure and the fact that polymerase can only move in one direction, and DNA replication happens a little differently on this strand, but I don't want you guys to worry about the details of that. Just know that DNA polymerase creates a complementary copy of each template strand. And so we call DNA replication semi-conservative, so it conserves one of the old strands and makes a new strand. So each new molecule of DNA has an old template strand and a newly synthesized strand. And that's why it's called semi-conservative.